Now at 9, Joplin hosts a Kansas City University white coat ceremony for the College of Osteopathic Medicine. Plus, some local pet owners attended a tie-dye bandana party at the Southeast Kansas Humane Society. And Crete and Sip Studios held a rock painting and hydro dripping event for the community.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Amber Jenkins. Police in Galena, Kansas arrested a man they say was cutting wire from telephone poles. It happened yesterday. Authorities say they received tips from residents and found the suspect vehicle near 21st and State Line Road. When officers pulled the vehicle over, they found wire and cutting tools inside, as well as drugs and drug paraphernalia. They also arrested the driver, 28-year-old Dakota Beck. He is being held on charges of theft from a utility company and criminal damage of property. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with the first look at weather.
All right, thank you very much. It's been a beautiful day across the area. A little bit on the warm side, but that's typical for July. Right now, radar is all clear. We're expecting it to stay that way for tonight. In fact, temperatures are going to be dropping through the 70s to about 68 degrees by tomorrow morning. And if you're heading out tomorrow, be aware that the UV index is going to be on the very high side, 10 on the scale, which means about 15 to 20 minutes before you start to burn. So make sure that you have plenty of protection out there, including hat, sunglasses, sunscreen. Find the shade if you can, and of course, limit your outdoor activities. All right, looking down the lane, we have isolated storm chances, but we also have the summer heat going to be returning in a big way. And then we're going to be looking at scattered storms late in the week into next weekend with near normal temperatures. And of course, I'll tell you all about that in just a bit.
A severe thunderstorm warning was in effect for parts of Kansas last night as the National Weather Service warned of wind gusting up to 70 miles per hour and potential golf ball size hail. Kansas Highway Patrol Trooper Todd Hillman posted this footage as lines of storms loomed over. "Get ready, Ellis County," he wrote on Twitter. According to the NWS, the storms lasted through the evening. Joplin's monthly tree limb drop-off program was open to residents today following last night's storm. The program is available for you to drop off your limbs and branches, but it must be cut to a maximum of 4 feet in bundles and no heavier than 50 pounds. The disposal is open every third Friday and Saturday and is free and available for Joplin residents at 1702 South Schifferdecker Avenue. The National Weather Service confirmed a tornado hit Mansfield, Arkansas yesterday morning. The survey team rated the tornado an EF1. They are still assessing the damage yesterday afternoon, and Brett Rains spoke to one of the families that was impacted.
You can see shingles from the shed inside my bed.
The EF1 tornado that hit Mansfield early Friday morning sent sheet metal and debris flying into Harley Green's bedroom.
My walls caved up in at 4 a.m. this morning when I was asleep. All this fell on top of me. Walls caved up in.
With damage and destruction all around him, Green says.
Yeah, very close call. I'm all right. I just don't know what's going to happen next. I don't really have tools for my business, don't have a place to go or anything.
I'm glad we got out when we did and realized and got out.
Sierra Crabtree was sleeping in the living room. Glass shards covered the couch where she was laying.
By the time I rolled over, that's when the glass started breaking and coming through. So I rolled over into a ball, so as much of it wouldn't hit me.
At first, she thought it was a bad dream. And when she opened her eyes,
I saw what my phone light could allow me to see, and it was that was missing and that the window and everything was missing and that there was some damage done in his room. We also had a 2x4 come through our ceiling. I lived in Oklahoma for 15 years. Never once was in a tornado. And I moved back here after not living here for 5 years and in an F1 tornado, and it's kind of scary, definitely is.
the tornado toppled trees and downed power lines in nearby neighborhoods. A crane was called in to lift the tree off this house in Mansfield. Neighbors say the man who lives here was not injured. Sebastian County search and rescue teams went door to door assessing the damage and making sure everyone was okay. And for Sierra and Harley, fortunately, they're all right, but their home is destroyed.
This was our last place where we're going to move into, and then we lost everything.
The VA clinic in Joplin hosted a PAC outreach event to raise awareness for veterans to apply for benefits that have been created due to the act. The PAC Act creates benefits for veterans involved in the Vietnam, Gulf, and Afghanistan wars. Those who have been affected medically by toxic chemicals used in those wars should sign up and apply to be screened. Kansas City University had its annual white coating ceremony today at the Joplin High Performing Arts Center. For students who will begin at KCU, this is for first year white coating ceremony is their first step to becoming a doctor. Students all across the world will be attending KCU, as well as students right here from the 4 states.
Man, I mean, I have pictures. My parents have pictures from like Christmas as like an 8-year-old with me in like a little white coat and a stethoscope with a little heart on it. So like almost for as long as I can remember.
Southeast Kansas Humane Society put on a fun day of tie-dye. Those who wished to participate donated $5 and then were provided with a bandana for their special dog in their life, and then they were tie-dyed. For those interested in more events going on at the Humane Society, be sure to follow them on Facebook and check out their website for more events. Create and Sip in Joplin put on an event for those in the area who wanting to express their creativity by painting rocks. John Coleman, the owner of Create and Sip, says it's a fun way for anyone who wants to paint and create. After the rocks were done, patrons could either hold on to their creation or add it to the rock population of Joplin.
But anything can be utilized as for making art. And I tell a lot of people too, with even using your paintbrush, the wrong end of the brush can still be used to make a mark. So if it can make a mark, and if you can make a mark on it, you can turn it into art.
You can follow Create and Sip on Facebook. Look on their website for all of their upcoming events. Coming up, the CDC is preparing for some funding cuts. We'll take a look at how that could affect you. Americans are facing a lot of challenges in their search for quality health care. Among the issues they're facing is longer wait times to get a doctor's appointment. Fox News senior correspondent Alicia Acuna takes a look.
It's terrifying because okay, I have to get this done today and this done tomorrow, and I don't have time for this, and I don't want to be in pain anymore.
Heather Gregg has suffered from debilitating migraines for more than 2 decades. Lately, they've gotten worse. Some hit so hard, they interrupt the Denver mother's work and time with her young daughter.
There's a lot of guilt associated with that.
When she was referred to a neurologist in June, the first available in-person appointment was November, a 5-month wait.
I was shocked.
According to a survey by AMN Healthcare and Merritt Hawkins, in 2022, the average wait time for a new patient appointment in 15 major U.S. cities was 26 days, up 5 days from 2004. The numbers get worse for certain specialties. For an OBGYN, the average wait is 31.4 days, a 19% increase from 2017. Cardiology wait times are up 26%, and orthopedic surgery 48%.
We have arrived at a point in time where demand for physicians is rapidly exceeding supply.
The reasons for that vary, including an aging population, delayed appointments during the pandemic, population growth, and physician burnout is now adding to pre-COVID staffing shortages as more doctors retire.
Another factor is the rate of poor health within this country, as 6 in 10 adults in the U.S. have at least one chronic condition.
So what to do?
You're just going to have to really get in line.
Urgent care centers are absorbing many primary care patients, but there's no guarantee you will see an MD at one, but rather a nurse practitioner or physician's assistant.
Because a lot of times in those retail clinic settings and those urgent care settings, those allied professionals are usually the ones that are going to be on the front line seeing patients.
Another option is telehealth, which Gregg opted for, but that only shortened her wait time from 5 months to 3.
I was like, oh, okay, so I just get to suffer in pain for this much longer.
The survey was done in areas with higher concentrations of doctors, which means the situation is even worse in more rural locations. In Denver, Alicia Acuna, Fox News.
The CDC is facing some big cuts to its funding. The National Public Health Agency is set to have its budget cut by almost $1.5 billion. The cutback is the result of a federal debt ceiling negotiations last month. Among the items that were eliminated was a grant that funded disease intervention specialists. The loss of those experts is expected to have a significant impact on state and local health departments. Sam is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, Missouri Southern is hosting its summer football camp. Brock Rawwood will have that and more in sports.
Well, we had a pretty warm day across the 4 states after the storms yesterday. Felt a little bit more humid out there. Right now on radar, it is all clear, and it's going to stay that way through most of tonight. Taking a look outside right now at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down and just outside of Seneca, Missouri. A pretty nice evening shaping up. A little bit of haze out there because of the smoke starting to move in from the north from those fires in Canada. 91 was our high today after starting out at 67, pretty close to the normals of 90 and 70. Of course, we had about 1/3 of an inch of rain yesterday. We're still behind for the month, and of course, we're still way behind for the year, about 10 inches on rainfall. Temperatures right now are pretty comfortable, 79 in Fort Scott and Pittsburgh, 80s elsewhere, still 85 in Independence, as well as Nowata, Veneta, and Jay. But Grove looks to be the warm spot right now at 86 degrees. When you factor in the dew point tomorrow, it's going to feel like it's in the mid to upper 90s, especially out towards the west, like in Sedan and Independence. And then as we go into Monday, it's going to feel like it's above 100 across most of the area, except for maybe Cassville and Bella Vista, approaching 110 out in Independence and Nowata. And then on Wednesday, it will be feeling like 110 in Independence and Fredonia, and pretty hot across the area for your Tuesday afternoon. Rain chances are going to be low for tonight and through most of tomorrow. We could see some isolated storms late tomorrow night and into the early morning hours, but they're going to be very scattered around. Looking at the upper airflow, we're going to be still under a northwesterly pattern, but as we see these pieces of energy roll by, we could see isolated thunderstorms developing in our area, but the bulk of that is probably going to stay to the north and east of us with this next round of storm activity. Then the ridge of high pressure really builds in as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. There is a risk of severe weather tomorrow across northern Kansas and northwestern Missouri, just barely outside of our area. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that for you if anything does develop. Rain chances are, like I said, are going to be low tonight, but as we go through Tuesday evening, we could see maybe half an inch of rain or more up towards the north, but the European model is a little bit drier across most of the area, and I think that's probably going to be the one that will verify. So tonight, we're going to see partly cloudy skies with lows in the 60s across the area. Then tomorrow, highs in the lower 90s with scattered thunderstorms, especially up towards the north. Then as we go into Monday morning, isolated to scattered showers around with lows in the 60s. Monday afternoon, hotter still with temperatures in the low to mid 90s. And then as we go into Tuesday, again, partly cloudy skies with lows in the 70s with isolated storms here and there. Over the next 7 days, it's going to get hot, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday with a high of 102 and 101, then slightly cooler as we head towards the last part of the week and the weekend with a 40% chance of storms Friday morning. Then we might get some more thunderstorms on Sunday with temperatures closer to normal, but still pretty warm in the mid 90s.
Yeah, that 102 is looking pretty hot.
Yeah, it's the best day to stay inside.
Definitely. Thank you. Coming up, the Biden administration is still fighting for student loan relief. We'll have some reactions from the lawmakers. California officials are restricting state-funded travel to certain states over recently passed anti-LGBTQ plus legislation in those states. The state's attorney general made the announcement yesterday impacting travel to Missouri, Nebraska, and Wyoming. The travel restrictions are mandated by a California law. There are several exemptions, including those for public safety, federal compliance, and law enforcement. Double dipping on fees, withholding credit card rewards, and opening fake accounts. And now Bank of America is paying the price. This week, the bank was fined $250 million by the U.S. regulators for allegedly harming customers. One of those fines, $100 million, is set to go directly to consumers who were impacted by the bank's alleged wrongdoings. The CFPB says if an account was fraudulently opened in your name, it would appear on your bank statements or credit report. Thousands of loan holders got the news they've been waiting for yesterday. The Biden administration said it will wipe out their student loans, totaling more than $39 billion in student loan debt, amounting to almost $50,000 per borrower. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
800,000 Americans are getting their student debt wiped out. No application required. The Biden administration announced on Friday it is forgiving $39 billion in student loan debt for eligible borrowers. The Education Department says the move fixes years of mistakes in how payments were collected through income-driven repayment plans.
If you've spent 20 or 25 years trying to pay off your student loan and have made payments but can't get the balance down, that, based on your income, you can get debt forgiveness.
This comes 2 weeks after the Supreme Court struck down the president's plan to forgive $400 billion in student loan debt for tens of millions of people. At the time, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona promised the fight wasn't over.
We're going to put the best legal argument forward to provide relief for borrowers. That's our focus, and we're not going to stay off of that.
The court ruled the president didn't have the authority to wipe out that much debt without congressional approval. This program will cost about a tenth of the previous plan and has not been challenged in the courts.
I am certain the court is going to weigh in on this. They are going to make it is going to be challenged.
Those eligible for relief don't have to apply. The debts will be automatically wiped out. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Up next, a Missouri woman is now a millionaire after purchasing a winning scratch-off ticket. There's a new Missouri millionaire thanks to a scratcher's ticket bought in Springfield. A lottery player won the first $5 million top prize on a 500X scratcher's ticket bought at a Midtown convenience store. The winner is staying anonymous, but she says she called her husband right away to surprise him with the good news. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, the suspected New York serial killer has been arrested. We'll have the details of the case. The Republican candidates for president are wasting no time meeting with voters and trying to get their messages out. They're focusing a lot on attention on Iowa, where the first in-the-nation Republican gathering will be held early next year. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff takes a look.
We're exactly 6 months out from the Iowa caucuses. Last night, GOP candidates spoke at a forum in the state. Notably absent was former President Trump. Today, though, is important across the board. You can see some fundraising totals here. And today is the filing deadline for campaigns to turn over their April to June fundraising reports to the FEC. Strong donor interest and how money's been spent will signify which candidates have found their footing. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is holding an event in Des Moines today. She said this earlier.
I know the other candidates are spending millions of dollars. We have not started spending any money yet because it's foolish to do so. It's not time.
Among Republican contenders, Governor Ron DeSantis has by far dished out the most money on digital ad buys. According to NBC News, his team even sent out a letter to donors reassuring them that the campaign is not short of momentum. Large donors were reportedly concerned about that. He's also campaigning in Iowa today. This week, former Governor Chris Christie and Senator Tim Scott were added to the candidates who have met the RNC donor requirements to take the debate stage next month. Former President Trump has yet to commit. He sat down for an interview that is going to air tomorrow on Sunday Morning Futures.
If people think that Trump is going to be elected, you'll never have a recession. If people think I'm not, you will have more than recession. You're going to have a depression.
Yesterday, the Biden-Harris campaign announced that it had raised over $72 million in the second quarter, and that's a relief to some Democrats who felt that the campaign was off to a slow start. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Sam Lane joins us.
All right, thank you very much. It's been a dry day across the area, much in contrast to yesterday with all the showers and storms. Radar is clear right now, and we expect it to stay that way for a little bit longer. Tonight, we're going to see temperatures dropping through the 70s all the way down to around 68 degrees under mostly fair skies. Now, tomorrow, those fair skies is going to mean a high UV index, 10, which is very high on the scale, so about 15 to 20 minutes before you start to burn out there, so make sure you are taking plenty of precautions. Looking down the lane, we do have some isolated storm chances in our forecast for the next few days. Then the summer heat is going to return in a big way, and then we'll have some scattered storms later in the week and near normal temperatures as we go in the extended period. And of course, I'll tell you all about that when we come back in just a little bit.
Authorities in Maryland are investigating a shooting that left 5 people hurt. And the Blazenburg Police Department says the victims were riding in a car after leaving a funeral when another vehicle came up and someone shot at them. Investigators believe the people in the car that fired the shots may have also attended the same funeral. 3 of those injured are in critical condition. The investigation is ongoing. A suspect is in custody in connection with a series of murders along Long Island Beach more than a decade ago. He's a Manhattan architect who is allegedly implicated in potentially up to 10 killings. Fox News correspondent Lauren Green has the latest.
Rex Heuermann is a demon that walks among us, a predator that ruined families. And if not for the members of this task force, he would still be out in the streets today.
59-year-old Rex Heuermann is married and has 2 children. He was cuffed and surrounded by police as he headed to court, where he pleaded not guilty to 6 counts of murder.
The only thing I can tell you that he did say as he was in tears was, "I didn't do this."
He was arrested Thursday night, not far from his architectural design office on Manhattan's Fifth Avenue. And early this morning, a swarm of police vehicles surrounded his home in Massapequa Park on Long Island, not far from where the bodies were found. Law enforcement searching for evidence and towing away cars. The charges are connected to the killings of 3 women, and Heuermann is the prime suspect in a 4th murder, but he could be linked to as many as 10 killings. The investigation began in 2010 with the search for missing 23-year-old Shannon Gilbert. Police discovered the bodies of 4 other women hidden along a remote beach highway. 24-year-old Melissa Bartholomew, 25-year-old Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 22-year-old Megan Waterman, and 27-year-old Amber Lynn Costello, now known as the Gilgo 4, all reportedly working as Craigslist escorts. Court documents show Heuermann has been on investigators' radar for months. In January, they found DNA on pizza crust that connected him to the murders. Documents also show he used burner phones to contact sex partners and conducted online searches related to sex and prostitution, as well as, quote, violent, sadistic child pornography. Heuermann is in custody, held without bail. A bail hearing is scheduled for August 1st. If convicted, he could face multiple life sentences, and investigators say more charges could be filed. In New York, Lauren Green, Fox News.
Still ahead, California has issued a new law that bans schools from notifying parents about their kids' gender identity status. We'll take a look.
Well, it was another warm day across the 4 states, but at least we got some rainfall over the last few days, including down in Seneca, Missouri. You can see this morning just some altocumulus clouds to start out the day. Then as we go through the afternoon, those clouds started to break up and we were left with mostly fair skies, a few thin cirrus clouds floating by, and then some cumulus in the evening. And now we're starting to see some of the smoke coming in from the north on northwesterly winds as some of the smoke from Canada is starting to filter back in from that direction. We made it up to 91 today after starting out at 67, which was pretty close to the normals of 90 and 70. Of course, we're nowhere near normal on the rainfall. We're about 10 inches behind so far just in 2023, not counting the drought situation from last year. Radar right now is all clear, so there's no rain to be dealing with tonight or thunderstorms. Instead, we're looking at pleasant temperatures, generally in the 70s and 80s across the area. Fort Scott, 78, same thing in Pittsburgh. 83 in Stockton, 79 in Monette, a little bit warmer down at Veneta where they're currently sitting at 83 degrees. Now when you factor in the dew point and the heat tomorrow, this is what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like in the mid to upper 90s, especially out towards the west. Places like Fredonia, Independence, and Sedan with 97. Then as we go into Monday, it's going to feel like it's in the hundreds pretty much everywhere across our area. Maybe the exception, Bella Vista and Cassville, feeling like in the upper 90s, but it's going to be hot. And then as we go into Tuesday, even worse. Temperatures are going to be feeling like in the 110 range, especially out towards the west, and mid 100s in the Joplin metro area. So the heat is definitely going to be coming back. Rain chances are going to be low for the next 24 hours. And then as we go into tomorrow, maybe an isolated storm or two, but nothing really to be concerned about. Then as we look at the upper level flow, we're looking at northwesterly flow across our area. Usually this is a wet direction for us in the summertime as pieces of energy ride down from the north and west. And we will see isolated storm chances beginning tomorrow. And then once the ridge starts building in on Tuesday and Wednesday, it cuts off the rain chances for at least a couple of days. Then it starts to retreat back to the west, and that opens up the floodgates a little bit more as we go towards the weekend. Storm chances tomorrow are going to be across northern Kansas and Missouri. Some of those could be severe, so we'll keep an eye on that for you, especially for our friends up near Emporia and just south of Topeka. And then as we look at the rain totals, we're not expecting a whole lot in the metro area, higher amounts up towards the north where there is a better chance of storm activity. And on the European model, it's even drier across our area, which I think is probably going to be closer to the verification. Temperatures tonight are going to be in the 60s across the area, so pleasant with northwesterly winds. Then as we go through tomorrow, temperatures in the lower 90s, best chance of storms again up towards the north. And then as we go into Sunday night and Monday, isolated storms will be possible, especially in our northeastern sections. And then Monday afternoon, scattered showers and storms will be possible across our area, about a 30% coverage with highs in the 90s. And then as we go into Tuesday morning, we'll see lows in the mid 70s, and then it gets really hot Tuesday afternoon. How hot? Well, how about 102? And then 101 on Wednesday, and then cooler on Thursday with 96, and then even cooler still on Friday and Saturday with better chances of storms, but at least we'll be closer to normal with highs in the 90s and lows in the upper 60s.
I mean, I know we are in summer, but come on, 102.
I know, and then when you factor in the dew point, it feels like 110. Nobody wants that.
Nah, thank you though. Well, coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws are back in action for a big home game against Jefferson City. Plus, the Missouri Southern football team is hosting their prospect camp. We'll break it all down and the details next in sports.
The Missouri Southern Lions football program was out on the field earlier this afternoon. The Lions are hosting their annual prospect camp, which gives a good opportunity for local high school football players to get out there and showcase their skills in front of some coaches. It was a little warm out there today, but football players from all over the 4 states area got out on the field. Not only was this beneficial to the players, but also the coaches who are looking for some possible recruits as well. The players got warmed up and they worked out in several different drills out there today. Prospect camps like these can be a huge stepping stone for a program like MSSU football during the off season.
You know, the biggest thing that we're looking for is how guys move, athletic movement, how well they can bend, how well they can change direction, straight line running. And then who's going to compete? Who's going to come out here and compete in the drills and perform well that way? Most of these kids we've already evaluated, off their film, and so now it's really kind of, fine-tuning or evaluating the small details of some things, verifying what we think we saw on film and kind of going from that angle of it.
The Joplin Outlaws are back at it at home tonight. Last night's game against Sedalia was rained out, but the game tonight is the game on Wednesday is being rescheduled for a doubleheader. So for tonight's home game, the Outlaws are hosting the Jefferson City Renegades for the annual Pink Night for Breast Cancer Awareness. Starting off in the top of the first, check out this play by Cole Hill, who catches this bullet of a line drive. Great play there by Hill. Top of the third now, Jeff City up 1-0. Justin Rivera lines this ball into left field. RBI single puts the Renegades up 2-0. Jeff City scores 4 runs in the third. So bottom of the fifth now. Outlaws are down 5-0, but Nixon Brandon, Pitt State guy, takes an RBI walk. Caden Bressler will come in to score. Outlaws get on the board first for tonight. Next batter, Colton Reynolds at the plate. Skies this deep into center field, but the center fielder, Luke Mashner, is going to drop this baseball. 2 runs are going to come in to score for Joplin. At one point, the Outlaws were only down 5-3. We're still in progress, but all of a sudden, this game has turned around. The Outlaws currently lead Jeff City 6-5. The Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals both return home after a 4-day MLB All-Star break. Both teams had their games postponed on Friday, so they'll have to make it up for the weekend. Royals versus Rays, doubleheader out there today in Kauffman Stadium. Starting off in the bottom of the 5th, 2-0 Tampa. Bobby Witt Jr. goes deep to center field, and that ball's out of here. Solo bomb, Royals down 2-1. Next batter, Salvador Perez, back-to-back jacks. See you later. But wait a minute. Hold your horses. After a review, looks like a fan reached over the wall and interfered with the play. Take a look again. She gets her glove in the way, and so they'll take the home run off of the board. So now we'll fast forward to the top of the 9th inning now. Hey Siri, how far did this ball go? Jose Siri puts a charge into that one, and this time no fans interfered with that home run ball. Solo home run for the Rays. Tampa goes on to beat the Royals in Game 1 of their doubleheader, 6-1. So now we head to St. Louis now as the Cardinals are taking on the Nationals. Brendan Donovan hits this ball deep out to Souvenir City into the bleachers. That's a 3-run jack for the Cardinals. Next batter up for Washington, deep into left field, off of the wall for a double. 2 runs are going to score for the Nationals, and so now they take the lead up 6-5, or 5-4. Next player at the plate, Wilson Contreras. Take a good look; you won't see it for long. Tied ball game, solo home run. Cardinals lead it tie it 5-5. Next batter up, Luke Thomas goes opposite field. Alex Call will race around and come in to score. Cardinals will lose this game 7-5 to the Nationals. Well, the Kansas State Wildcats and the Toronto Raptors and the Kansas Jayhawks all had former players partake. Grady Dick, a former Kansas Jayhawk, and Marquise Noel, the former K-State Wildcat, are both sharing the locker room, and the dynamic duo from the Sunflower State is starting to roll now in Las Vegas. Raptors and the Warriors. We start things off in the third quarter. Marquise Noel now over to Grady Dick. The alley-oop slam. Raptors down 6. Later in the third, Warriors up 9. Kendrick Davis gets over to Lester Quiones, who gets the sidestep from the defender and drains the 3. Warriors are up 12. Fourth quarter now, Toronto up by 1. Marquise Noel with the floater and the foul. We head to the next possession. Marquise Noel, Mr. New York City, step back 3, puts it in. Then Noel again, look at this move. Fake pass around the back and dumps it off to Joe Westcamp for the and 1 and foul. Rock Chalk Email, the Raptors defeat the Warriors 108-101 in Las Vegas. That'll be it with the sports. We'll be right back with more news right after this.
A federal judge in California ruled a law banning schools from notifying parents about their children's transgender or gender identity status is constitutional. Fox News national correspondent William LaJesse has the latest on what this means for parents and students.
To keep parents in the dark, to lie to parents, and to view parents as a problem is grossly irresponsible.
From New Jersey to California.
My daughter, the last 2 years, has been asked for her pronouns on the first day of school.
A simple question: do parents have a right to know if their child is changing his or her gender identity?
Having teachers to confide in before my parents made me feel amazing.
This week, a federal judge appointed by George W. Bush upheld California's rule prohibiting teachers and counselors from telling parents when a child adopts a new gender identity.
I just want them to stop keeping parents in the dark.
Aurora Regino claimed the district interfered with her right to make informed decisions about her 5th grader, who at the time lived as a girl at home while using a boy's name at school.
They were talking to my daughter about different support groups in town to help her with her transition, and then discuss breast binding with my daughter that I had no knowledge of.
17,000 schools in 37 states protect student privacy and stop officials from outing transitioning students to their parents.
Never in the history of the United States have we said that kids have a right to privacy from their own parents.
This has nothing to do with a school issue, a transgender issue. It is a parenting issue that don't create a safe space for their children to be who they are.
Conservatives who brought the case are appealing to the Ninth Circuit.
These schools are performing this psychological intervention on kids without their parents knowing about it. It's a clear constitutional violation.
Federal courts across the country are grappling with this question as red and blue state lawmakers go in different directions. So no surprise if this issue soon lands at the Supreme Court. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
Up next, in honor of the new Barbie movie, we'll take you to Barbie World, where you can live like Barbie every day. For more than 60 years, Barbie has remained an icon with more than 100 dolls sold every minute, millions of followers on social media, and a highly anticipated movie coming out on the 21st. Fox Ashley Dworkin is at the World of Barbie in Santa Monica, California, with how you can live a little bit of the Barbie life.
This is the best day ever. It is the best day ever.
Barbie's life outside the box is perfectly curated to be whatever you can imagine. But what everyone who's ever played with the iconic doll wonders, what would it be like to spend a day in her heels?
Barbie's the original influencer. She has that perfect combination that influencers today are all looking for. She's aspirational, inspirational, and relatable.
If you're looking to leave your dream house and live that Barbie life.
I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song.
Eventbrite lifestyle contributor Sarah Bigham says the beach is the first place you'll need to go.
She's going to take a yoga class. She's going to go roller skating. She's going to check out a pool party on top of a roof.
But over the last 6 decades, Barbie's rarely seen alone. She's either painting the town pink with her friends or having a date night with Ken. And if you're looking to get dolled up and go out with your boo,
Barbie and Ken love a good date night. And a few ideas I have for great date nights include a local jazz show, a local comedy show, or even a cooking class.
Still haven't met your Ken?
Check out all of the speed dating events that are popping up coast to coast.
Looking good, Barbie.
Actress Margot Robbie, who plays Barbie in the film, says channeling your inner icon is as simple as,
I'm looking my absolute best. I'm around the people I love the most. That feeling, but every single day.
In addition to everything she does, Barbie also has a career, 250 of them during her lifetime, including surgeon, astronaut, firefighter, and computer engineer, just to name a few. At World of Barbie in Santa Monica, California, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Barbie can do anything, I tell you what.
I wonder how hot it is in Barbie's world.
True, true.
Probably real hot there too, as it's going to be getting hotter as we head towards the week with temperatures of 102 on Tuesday, 101 on Wednesday, and then as we start to cool off a little bit as we head towards the weekend with increased rain chances, so that won't be too bad. And temperatures staying closer to normal with highs in the 90s and lows in the upper 60s. But if we can keep these rain chances going, then we hopefully will stay below 100 degrees through a large part of the summer, and that's what I'm pulling for.
I hope so. I know you're going to keep an eye on it, though.
No.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of animals in Florida cooling off from the heat. We'll see you right back here next time. Thanks for making us a part of your night.